And good evening and welcome to episode 19 of Endless Banter. Yes, we are late. Yes, it is my fault. I do apologise. It's not Paul's fault. He was on time. Jack was on time for it to be on YouTube and Facebook. It was my fault. So I do apologise, guys. It's my issue. I'm sorry. So, Paul, how are you doing? How's your week been? What you drinking? What you've had for tea? And you look really happy, smiley, and good mood today. Good vibe. Oh, how are you doing? How's your week been? What are you drinking? You, not me.
You know why? Because I've normally got my YouTube window open that's muted. I couldn't be asked to press on the link, so I waited for the notification to come to say we were live. And I clicked on that. So apologies about that. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Just I've had a bath and everything. I've had my tea. I had Chinese. I'm drinking a can of Diet Dr. Pepper, because I can't afford to pay fucking fat tax on full price.
What you have for tea?
Chinese.
Oh, good stuff. What did you have though?
I had chicken fried rice and curry sauce.
And did you scran it all? Or did you get to it and go, fucking hell, did I fuck?
No, I never ate a full portion. Mia had some, and I've stopped eating chips, man. Chips are killing my Banter like chips.
What, just trapped, or you just feel sick with it?
Not trapped. I'm just sharing the link.
Hey, no worries. Pixie, nice haircut, Tom. Paul also said nice haircut as well, but I think he was taking piss. He said ice gem under his fucking breath. I heard him. Yeah, so it's my fault. We're late this week, as I said. The little one's got chicken pox, so if anybody wants to come down for a chicken pox party, you are more than welcome. I'll leave her in the front garden. You can do as you please.
You weren't late because of chicken pox. You were late because you hadn't fucking bothered your ass to set the link up, and when you did, your computer updated. Let's be honest. Don't blame the fucking kids, Tom.
I'll blame the kids. She's fucking done my nutting all day. I'm not even gonna lie. Screaming around the fucking house, moaning. This is first time parenting. I've never ever had a kid with chicken pox, and I'm not fucking dealing with that again. So I'm making sure if we ever have any more kids, they're going straight into chicken pox parties. The sooner they get it, the sooner it's fucking done. So any Land Rover updates? Have we got a new turbo? Have we got out sorted? No.
Turbo's been perfectly fine, mate. No issues with my turbo. I haven't had my reversing sensor sorted yet, to be fair.
Have they even messaged you? That's the question.
No, I haven't heard off them since last week, to be honest.
Charlotte, if you're watching, get on your fucking case and get it sorted.
I might go in there tomorrow morning for a coffee and biscuits, just to get an update off her.
What the fuck's going on in my car? Now get me a coffee. So we've got plenty of things to run through this week. Some good subjects. But I want you to go through. I've obviously put down about we've discussed it before, obviously, about the 90 mils coming out. Well, the 60s into 90s. Do you want to give people a little bit more information? I know you dropped a picture of the bottle, which looks sick in black bottles. Is that how they're coming?
Yeah, I'll be going to do the 90 mils in black bottles, keep the clear bottles for the 20 mils, and then see where we go from there. I've got a meeting with them on Friday morning to discuss 2 or 3 other things as well, which I will announce on Friday if the meeting is successful.
Wicked.
Hopefully, I know when I spoke to Mark, was it last Friday we went to the meeting? Yeah, it was Friday, weren't it, after we'd done last week's show. I did speak to Mark about doing a live feed from the Ace of Vapes facility when the bottles are being produced, so you can see how they're produced, in what conditions they're produced, their facility over at Ace of Vapes. And then I'll probably do some sort of competition there, and then for the first few bottles off the line or something, I don't know yet.
That's cool. So we're obviously sticking with I don't know if people realise, obviously going from 60 mils into 90s means we are sticking obviously with the 50-50 3 milligram and 6 milligram, and the 80-20 3 milligram and 6 milligram. So that's the whole reason you did the 60 mils, if I'm not right.
Exactly, just exactly the same ratio. So it's basically you've got to have 10 mil nick shot for every 20 mil of AF juice. So we can either do 20 mil with the 10 mil, making it 30. So we can do a 20 stroke 30 mil short fill, 40 stroke 60, 60/90, 80/120. And then you'd have 80 mil, add 4 shots, and you can still keep the 50/50, 80/20, 0. You can get to 1.5 then, 3, 4.5, 6 if you wanted to be a smart ass with the nick shot.
So,
and you can get like a 70/30 mix or a 66/34 mix or something like that.
and as I stated, we are the first ones again to do it in big bottles as well, which is obviously a bonus to keep it up with the 30 mils, obviously, so no one's getting any sort of change. They can still do as they please, like they did with the 30 mils, which is a bonus. And obviously, you're keeping the flavors exactly the same. They're just obviously being reproduced in bigger bottles. So it's good to see, because obviously, as we said before on previous shows, that a lot of people have been saying sort of when are the bigger bottles coming, and it has come quite quickly, which is nice.
It has as well. It's going to be around about 17 quid with shots for 90 mil.
Which is the going rate.
Well, it's cheaper than some, as good as others. Gives you the ratio. So.
And you're still doing the nick shots for 1 pence?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It'll be 17 quid with the shots, so it'll be 16,
right, okay.
16.97 plus 3p. That's how we'll do it. I think Ace of Vapes and other places will probably do it at 14.99 plus the shots. So yeah. It just depends. I mean, basically, we put the price of the shots in, we take it off and add the penny shot. I mean, that's pretty much what we've done with all the liquids in our shop now. So, but the retail price on it, if you just bought, I mean, because obviously, look, you know, wholesaling, some people don't want to take the nick shots.
Yeah.
So they'll buy it for the price, and the retail on the bottle will be 14.99 plus 3 shots. Some people are selling shots for 75 pence. Some people are selling them for £1. So you're somewhere between 17, 18 quid or 90 mil.
Which is nice, obviously, because we have had that demand, obviously, for bigger bottles. We have had it said, you know, where are the bigger bottles, and it's come quickly, and people are able to get hold of bigger bottles. I still think the 30 ml bottles will still do just as well, because obviously there's still a lot of people out there that haven't tried the range, which is disappointing. But you know, people get around to trying it. Shops will get around to taking it on. So it's nice that the 30s are still going to be available, because on first thought, I was like, well, 30s are done, they've gone. But it's nice to actually get the 30s so people are able to try the range, which is definitely a bonus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're selling well in more shops on that basis. We'll keep them. More shops on their Ace of Vapes to do more with it in their shops. We've had reorders from both us and Ace of Vapes for 30s for shops. So it's still selling well for us.
I've just explained to Tom, if you've obviously not seen the AF Juice line, basically what we've got is we've got the ability for you to run a 30ml bottle in either 6mg 50/50 or 6ml in 50/50 3mg or 80/20 in 3mg and 6mg. If you've not seen that, just by adding different shots. We're now going to be having it in bigger bottles, just to see if, Tom, if you've not seen that, mate, if you need any information, drop me a line, mate, and I'll drop you all over information.
So what we do, 0 and 9, a 15 and an 18 VG. So you can actually put, if you put a 15 VG shot in there, you'll have 4.5 mil. So then when you go to the 90 mils and you've got 3 shots to add, you add 3 18s and you'll get 6. If you add 2 18s and a 15, you'd get something different, slightly less. You could have an 18 and 2 15s. You could have, so if you had three 9s, will give you 3mg. If you add an 18 and 2 9s, I think that will give you 4.5. There's like, obviously you can. We're just working on the maths for the banners, because I've got new banners coming as well, like new posters for the shops coming, which will explain the ratio availabilities and the strength availabilities. Mr. Dale Wilkinson from the Yorkshire Vaper. Good evening, sir. Dale's like shit in a fan factory today. He's on fucking live feeds, Facebook. He's probably been to Apple and bought a load of stuff ready to sell on next fucking month when he's bored. Our whole house literally is like an Apple shop courtesy of Dale Wilkinson. So yesterday I requested that he spend some money on some decent Rolexes, and I'll take them off his hands next month or when he's bored.
Innovative and first to see this done on the market, so fair play to you on that. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that, mate. We have had the debate plenty of times, people saying they've done it first, but I'm not even going to lie and bullshit. We was the first to put it out there, and if anybody wants to claim it, it's bullshit, so fuck you. I'm not even going to fucking beat around the bush.
I'm happy for people to steal my thunder, mate. They've been doing it for fucking 5 years. Actually, I was talking to Jake Addison just before the live feed from Bruise Bros, and he said to me, he said, mate, the night that I seen your first post about it, he said, I sat at home fucking kicking myself. But that says, I spoke to Liam, who works for Prohibition. He said exactly the same thing. Ben Solana from Six said exactly the same thing. We was at Ace of Vapes not last Friday, but when we went the meeting before that, there was a chap who was in there who buys the stock off Ace of Vapes for his shop, and he's took AF, and he says, it's clever, mate. He said, we actually, they've got one side of their liquid shelves are 50-50, one side is 80-20. He's actually got the range on both sides.
That's cool.
He's just good. And I say the other thing for us is, and you know yourself, I mean, TYV were one of the first UK companies, if not the first UK company, to drop 1.5 milligram in a liquid. As a business, we've never ever sold a huge amount of 6 milligram high VG. However, there's a big calling for 6 milligram in short fill. I was talking to Mark, who owns Ace of Apes, his brother Mike, who's got Red Hot Vaping. He reckons that 6 milligram in his shop outsells 3 milligram.
Fucking hell.
So it just proves, it just depends who you are, what you are, where you are, and what you do. You know what I mean? It depends what you're selling to people. Everyone wants something different. Say for us personally, very rarely did I take 6 milligram at wholesale, unless someone wanted something specific.
Yeah.
But then I think that Tasha just said on the basis that I didn't stock it again because there's no way I could vape a 6. And I used to include in a fucking right minded vape a 6 milligram. So we never stocked it. You don't get the calling for it because people who come and ask for it, we ain't got it. That's the absolute truth of it. And so we never had a big calling for it, but we never ever pushed it either.
I think it's because we've got the availability to actually mix and match sort of what you want to do with your nick shots with it, and I think that's given a massive opening rather than, you know, putting juice on your shelf that you know necessarily ain't going to sell because nobody really asks for it, but doesn't mean there isn't a demand there for it. So because it sort of opened it up to actually have that availability, I think that works tenfold. I think it really does.
No, 100% it does. And we've sold nick shots to turn it into a 6 milligram in the shop, both for high VG and for 50-50. So using the PG shot or the VG shot. Jabba Dasluk has just asked, can you mix the flavors? You can knock yourself out if you like. If you get
Jabba the slut.
I don't think she has anything to do with the vape scene anymore, does she? So that's it. I see she comes out of my mouth sometimes. I've even thought about what's going to be said. We are working on a. I mean, basically, if you've got a 90 ml bottle now or a 100 ml bottle, you could mix. I actually mixed earlier in my office some 18 milligram Heisenberg. Only I mixed it on my dripper. Just put a tiny bit of Heisenberg straight into my cores, and I'm using Sublime, and it was fucking wicked to the point where I might even bring out a Limesenberg. I'm not even joking, mate. It was fucking fire. But obviously, the 18 milligram, the 12 milligram was a little bit foister. But I literally just dabbed my coils, and my coils just went blue. I'd vape my cotton dry, put some Heisenberg on the coil, drip some Sublime over the top of it, and it was fucking banging. So for any juice makers that are watching, there you go. And bring out a fucking Limesenberg. I'm not sure, but yeah, but
you're fuck. Someone's releasing that tomorrow.
I don't give a fuck. And then someone's asked, are we bringing out Nick Salts again? That is one of the discussions we've got on Friday. Is Nick Salt as well. I can get a Nick Salt shot straight away. The trouble is, quite honestly, 20 milligram Nick Salt. No, it's not even that I don't like it. It's that 20 milligram nic salt really is designed for mouth to lung vaping.
Mm.
It is like you're not really gonna. I mean, I mean, there's a 90% chance we'll bring out nic salts in PG and in VG, and then you can have up to a. It's not even. So the trouble is, the minute you put it into a short fill, if you put it into ours, you put a 20 milligram in there, you're actually running at 8, no, 6, 12, 18, 6.66 milligram. 6.6 milligram might be cool in the high VG because it's okay on a dripper at 6 milligram because it's completely different vape. You're
Yes,
not going to get much of a hit.
it'll be like a 1.5.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not going to get much of a hit on a mouth to lung. So I am looking at dropping a 50-50, 20 milligram nic salt range as well.
Yeah, if you wanted sort
Salty
of
as
nicotine,
fuck.
what's it called?
Salty as fuck.
You're damn right. Yeah, I think with sort of if you're gonna do it on a sort of a 6 milligram nic salt, it's definitely gonna not. It's gonna give you the nicotine definitely, and it's gonna be smooth like sort of a 1.5. But somebody who's vaping sub ohm is not gonna want a fucking massive Nicky Rush while they're chonging on a fucking sub ohm. Let's be realistic. It's not their style. They want to continuously hit that for the flavour, and if they're not gonna want to hit it, have 20 hits and be like, fucking hell, I'm on my ass. You know what I mean? That's not the style of vaping with sub-ohming. It's very much mouth to lung in it.
Yeah, I think so, and that's why we'll probably just drop the whole range. He's as salty as fuck and do a nic salt 10 mil 50-50 nic salt range.
I got a meat pod and nic salts are amazing in the tanks. Don't get me started on fucking meat pods. Do not get me started on meat pods. So I've got we can actually go into this subject actually because we're actually on about tanks and stuff. So my next subject I've got down is tanks versus RDAs, and obviously I just want to obviously discuss around obviously the reasons people use tanks, the difference to using RDAs, obviously convenience and stuff like that. But obviously you're very much a tank user with your mouth to lung. Obviously the AIO is obviously a tank all in one with you obviously your box. Would you say you prefer the flavour off a mouth to lung or a tank or off the dripper? What's your sort of experience around obviously using? Do you get much flavour out of the AIO? Is it decent flavour or do you always go back to a mech for flavour? What sort of is your thing on tanks versus RDAs?
My honest opinion is that I haven't used many tanks in 5 years that give me anything like the flavour I get off an RDA. Any tank, whether that be sub-ohm, whether it be a rebuildable sub-ohm, RTA. But see, I think it's mad. Tasha's vaping style is always full air, high watts, as many watts as you can get through the coil. And actually, when we set up the tanks at Expo, I set them up at 40 watts, I think, using them Valerian tanks, which are fucking banging, to be fair. They're wicked for flavour. 40 watts and restricted the air down off them. So you're still taking a lung kit off it, but that intensifies the flavour so much. And to be fair, when I'm in the shop and anyone says to me about fucking what's going to run this at, bro, I'm always like, it depends what you want. Hey, mate, if you want a pure cloud, fucking get yourself an RDA. If you want some flavour, actually turn your watts down, turn your air down. You'll get much better flavour out of a sub-ohm tank or an RTA. So I've never been a tank user, really.
Would you say a lot of people use it more for convenience rather than anything else? Because I agree with you on that.
100%, it's convenient. And as far as flavouring the AOs is concerned, I use menthol-based liquids. So I use Heisenberg, I use Shady Vaping menthol. I used to use Purple Rain, the V-Juice, which is like a black currency type menthol. I've used the Vampire Vape Dawn, which is nice, which is not quite a red Astaire, but that ilk of type of liquid. I like red Astaire, but the food colouring fucks me up. And all them flavours are quite, they're not sort of, it's not like you're going to vape a Heisenberg and go, oh my God, the undertones of that blueberry is just something exquisite. I'm just vaping it because it stops me smoking a cigarette. When I put the AF juices in the AOs at Expo, I wasn't particularly impressed with the flavour out of them either, to be honest. And I think when you mouth to lung vaping, you've got a completely different flavour experience to even sub-ohm tank vaping, and then you've got a different experience again when you RDA vape.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. For me, with tanks and stuff, it's definitely down to convenience. The thing that sort of not annoys me, but the fact is that obviously with an RDA, it's so easy to use. It's obviously a lot more flavour because it's a lot more direct. It doesn't have to go through a chimney or anything like that. And obviously, use of coils and stuff like that is obviously not convenience on the tank side of things, but like on, as you're saying, with the mouth to lung side of things, I think you sort of put the flavour side to a side when you mouth to lung in. I really do.
Especially for flavour. This little thing here, this breeze.
Well, that gives quite a lot of good flavour.
You know what? If I can get the downsides, it's a cunt to get the top off. Oh, it's a pain in the arse, actually.
It's easy to take the whole thing off, though, isn't it?
Like, that is the top of the coil there.
Lift it up. There we go.
So that is the top of the coil. What the fucking hell is that? one second, mate. Can I change my camera while we're on air?
Yeah.
Right, then let me go for it.
There we go.
I was just holding that fucking up then to there. Why have I got to be here for it to be centre? So as you can see there, I don't know if that's in focus. I'm going to hold my hand behind because that's what
that's better.
reviewers do. That is actually the top of the coil, and the coil sits down just to the bottom of the plastic tank. So literally, there's no chimney on this at all. You are vaping straight out of the top of the coil.
Yeah.
So on that basis, you've got nowhere to lose any flavour. I mean, you can vape it like that if you want to be a dickhead.
It's got adjustable airflow, that as well, hasn't it?
You've got adjustable airflow control. I don't know whether you've got that in focus or not.
That's it. Yeah, that's
So
focused.
you've got the adjustable airflow control actually on the coil. So that's shut off now. Now it's open. So you just restrict it through the actual side of the coil. What I've found is about 50% of that hole is perfect for me on mouth to lung, and it's just nice to see some sort of pod typey system that's got adjustable airflow control, proper adjustable airflow control.
Do you think when you open that, especially if you open that wider as well, it's going to obviously reduce the flavour as well, isn't it?
To be fair, it does, yeah, but also even when it's fully open, I was vaping it fully open before. This is fully open now. So you can still get a decent mouth to lung drag off it.
Would you say it was more restricted lung though when it's like wide open? Yeah.
Yeah, but fucking restricted lung in 12 ain't clever. But I mean, you can. I mean, that's a tighter draw than a me pod.
What when you've closed it or when it's fully open?
Fully open, it's tighter.
No way.
Pod, which is cool because it is genuine mouth to lung even fully open. And then if I take it right the way down, so it's just, you probably can't even see how fucking open that is, but it's open next to fuck all.
Yeah, that's a fucking nuts crack, isn't it? Yeah.
You can still get a decent drag off it.
But in essence, that's just like, once again, it's a lot of sort of a built-in tank, isn't it?
Yeah. Fucking hell. I'm going to stop my 12 milligram and I've got a mad headache now. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all it is in essence. It's just a fucking rectangle. You have to press, there's two clippers on the side. So you press them and it releases the pod. And you fill the pod up from the bottom on this one now instead of straight into the tank.
What's the different things? Different pod opens? Is it?
No, it's not. It's just one of them opens the pod and the other one's just to hold the rubber grommet in place.
Right.
You open the bottom one and it just hinges to there. And you just fill it up. It holds 2 mils, obviously TPD compliant. Put your cartridge in, snap it into place, stick your top on. Jobs are good. And so it's much cleaner.
Where does the airflow come in from then? So if obviously you've got your airflow obviously covered, but where it comes through the side.
You not see that? I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Like a little grill.
You've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes both sides.
Ah.
So I thought they were adjustable when I first seen it before I took it apart, but it's actually adjustable through the coil. But that airflow control through the core works really well.
Yeah, it's going to say you're obviously getting the same amount of airflow through that, regardless of how open the actual coil head is open. You're still getting the same airflow, but obviously it's restricting it from what's intaking through actually the coil head.
It comes from the coiling. It restricts it. So you do feel the difference on the drag. It does get tighter and looser when you open and close that airflow control. It's not self-activating like the Breeze one, which is probably not a bad thing because the self-activation mechanism on that was shit. And the way that you filled it meant that liquid got in there, which meant the liquid got between the diaphragm, which meant they were massively prone to auto.
Yeah.
I've not had an issue with this one so far, and although I have seen people saying that they've had sticky buttons on them, I haven't, and I've been using this pretty much exclusively for a week or so. So,
Ross Nichols, you would be correct.
what's that?
What's Tom vaping? I showed it earlier. That is why I'm on. The Emperor with the crown, and I'm on Sublime, of course. Tash hooked me up. Love you, Tash.
He didn't even tell me he got the fucking order. Has he got?
I said thank you in the chat.
He said he said thank you to her. He says you fucking didn't, you ignorant cunt.
Tell her I'm sorry, I love you. And
it's a northern thing, man.
Tight.
Do you know what?
What you doing? Mate, have you got a reversible t-shirt?
They're not. We'll do it that way then. We'll do that then. Shut up. So definitely down to sort of the flavour of things. It's going back to what we mentioned last week about juice and the difference in juice and how juice is changing and everything like that. It's sort of a lot of vapors now, probably 99% of vapors that aren't your high street vapor who sort of go and buy a C4 and whatnot. They're not after flavour, but you sort of 99% of your vapors in sort of our community is very much flavour based, and obviously the difference in sort of how people actually perceive flavors through different devices like tanks and RDAs. And obviously, you guys will see it a lot more than I do, obviously being in the shop and stuff. And Tash will see it obviously a lot more than both of us. But obviously, people are using tanks necessarily. They'll say they get mass amounts of flavor on it, but never tried an RDA for flavor. But I think a lot of people, once they try an RDA, they never touch a tank again. And if they do, they're using it for convenience.
Yeah, I mean, Tasha will use an RDA if she can sit down and use an RDA. She always uses sub-tank and always has done. So, and she'll squonk as well, but actually she don't squonk as much as I thought she'd squonk. No, look, I thought you'd always have a squonk on the go, and actually there's still times where you use a sub-tank or...
It's messy, actually.
No, but I don't disagree. I think squonking is messy. I think you've got to be... I think squonking's more messy than dripping.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
I think a liquid today, just from leaving it in my car, and it's on the sword, and there's liquid just pissing out of the bottle.
It will do because it's on its sword.
Oh no, that's my point. But actually, you can fucking throw a tank in the car, and it's fucking still there. I've got paperwork covered in custard fucking sugar.
Tasha is a messy vapor anyway, mate.
I've seen Tash drip. Like it's fucking...
Lots of fucking ice cream, mate.
Telling you, Mr. Whippy on just goes pissing out the sides.
Running down the fucking £1,200 101, and I'm like, what the fuck, mate? Fucking drip more shit, and I just smile. Are you enjoying that, love?
You've drunk more of that juice than you dripped. As long as you're happy, Tash, who gives a fuck?
Oh, fucking mad.
When is Emperor Cap from Expo going on sale? There's Emperor Caps on sale, mate. The Crown 3 is on the website and it's currently reduced.
I'm sure we've mentioned this
and
as well.
We've got the Slamham 22. Now, the Slamham 22 might not be online, actually. But the one that was designed for the Emperor is the 25mm. Sorry, 24mm Crown, which is what Tom's using now.
And it's fucking banging, I'm not even going to lie. Even just with that little bit of a restricted area, it's fucking banging.
Well, I put the crown. I put the rainbow crown on the stacked Emperor, and actually the airflow is fine for me.
It
Again,
is.
I didn't want to over egg the airflow on that one because to me it was the whole concept of them mods was more about flavour, but you can still run a 0.1 in that comfortably, more than comfortably. There's enough airflow to run a 0.1 and still get decent clouds, nice flavour.
Mine's a little bit lower than point 0.1, but it's still banging flavour. So talking about flavour, I don't know how much you know about it, Paul, but obviously the Prop E in San Francisco has gone through, so that means there is no longer availability for them to get flavoured e-liquid. What do you think about that? And supposedly, New York is next to take on that as well.
Mate,
So
it will go through America like a fucking dose of salt. I think. I think they're corrupt motherfuckers. Is my absolute honest opinion. I don't get why. You know what, mate? For the last 4 years, and I've seen all these people posting pictures of fucking cartoon e-liquids and Cheerio e-liquids and fucking all this, and get everyone going, oh my God, it's advertising to children. I don't believe that it is advertising to children. I've always said it's advertising to dickheads who vape. Pokemon e-liquid was not aimed at children. It was aimed at fucking knobheads that wanted a hand check Pokemon e-liquid. Simple as that. That's my opinion. Might be wrong. I don't know. But the bottom line is, mate, they've got pictures of fucking lungs on fag boxes now. There's still kids walking out of school at 14 years old smoking a fag, and they've seen it on the side of the box, blatantly saying it's going to fucking fuck your lungs up. It's going to give you fucking erection problems. What 14-year-old wants to stress about not being able to get a fucking hard on? They still choose to fucking do what they're doing. If a kid is going to vape, they're going to vape regardless because they're the same kids that would have smoked 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. When I go and pick out from school, which is not very often, the amount of kids that are vaping is ridiculous. When I've been and picked Billy up from school, the amount of kids coming out of his school is fucking shocking. There's kids sub-ohming walking out of the fucking school grounds, sub-ohming. Not we're using some C4, mate. They're using sub-ohm. And at the end of the day, when I started smoking cigarettes back in the fucking early 40s or whenever it was, you spoke to I mean, I'm 42, so 30 years ago, I had my first cigarette when I was about 12.
1940s, you just...
You were supposed to say you're not that fucking old. You're only about 26.
I've already said you're not that fucking old already.
I smoked a cigarette because I thought it was cool. It took me weeks to get used to smoking a cigarette and not feeling like sick and shit. I persevered with that horrible tobacco stick to enjoy it, and then I couldn't not go without it. And I think the thing for me is that vaping generally is quite cool anyway. That said, me and Tash sat down for lunch on Monday, and some woman was walking through the ball ring, and she was on some like smoke stick type thing, like a V8 stick or something like that, and she was. And I looked at her as Tash looked, and I was like, "What a fucking knob!" And
Paul said she looks cool as fuck.
No, I said she thinks she looks cool as fuck. She was walking like she got one drawing pin in her shoe. Like she needed some fucking fruit for a bowl and that. She was proper bowling around town, vaping like a boss. And I think actually watching the way that, and to be fair, mate, she weren't even exhaling like clouds like you are now, as big as yours, but the way that she was vaping just looked fucking knobby, in my opinion. Again, like you're sitting there, you're taking a big drag, you obviously got a fucking low build on that, you're blowing a cloud out, but you're just blowing your cloud out. And actually, I see some people vaping, and they genuinely are using a fucking 007 build, and they're, and then you've got some other dickheads who are like fucking walking through town trying to blow fucking jellyfish in force 9 gale winds. And I'm just like, actually, you're a prat. But that says, I do think that sub-ohm, sub-tank, box mod vaping is cool for teenage kids. I'm not advocating it. I'm saying they think it's cool, therefore it's cool. And it's something that will spread like wildfire. Putting no flavour in the liquid is not going to make an ounce of difference to the amount of kids that walk around with flavourless e-liquid blowing clouds, because I don't believe a 14-year-old is any connoisseur on e-liquid flavour. They don't give a fuck, actually. They'll vape fucking 90-10 spunk if they think they'll get a cloud out of it just to impress their pals. So if they've purely banned flavour for its ability to attract children into vaping, they're absolute knobheads.
It's definitely agenda push. There's definitely agenda behind it. But I don't know it's coming into play. Obviously, I think it's into play now in San Fran, but I know I've seen reports of obviously New York being next and other people obviously discussing it in the States. To me, it sort of seems that I sit there and I think TPD, we're all fucking there, worried off our asses about TPD, and we sort of got off really fucking lightly to what they're getting at the minute.
Yeah, you know what, mate? It'll still probably filter down. I mean, whether it'll filter down at that extreme, I don't know. You know what? We've got too many big tobacco players in the UK now that will probably be able to fucking line enough people's pockets to not get it completely fucked over.
I just think sort of a lot of people do like flavour chasing because obviously it does keep them off the fags because it does. Well, it's not necessarily the flavour that's doing it, but it's obviously chasing the newest thing and trying different things and sort of keeping that hobby alive because you're trying fresh stuff. Sort of to me, that sort of puts a lack on it. Sort of that's going to say to a lot of them over there, well, if you actually need vaping for vaping's sake, you're going to vape regardless, aren't you? If it's not flavoured or not. Let's be realistic. VG's quite sweet. I've tried non-flavoured vape. It's not bad at all. It's just sweet, unflavoured. There's nothing to it. It's literally just vaping. To me, it's sort of people will turn around and go, well, this helped me stop smoking. This helped me stop smoking, you know, on that sort of basis that it keeps everything fresh. And to me, sort of would honestly lack sort of the hobby side of it. The hobby side of it would sort of plummet. You know what I mean? It wouldn't sort of, people aren't going to be like, oh, have you got this new unflavoured shit? You know what I mean? It's not appealing, is it? Realistically, people don't vape for vape's sake. Everything's banned. Any flavour. Any flavoured. I think they've even stopped menthol. Any flavour. So everything's unflavoured. Like literally just VG taste.
Fucking go. They will bring out a Nick shot type liquid that takes a fucking concentrate shot.
But I don't know what the regs are over there about flavourings or anything, so they might be able to just sell concentrates like we've done over here.
Mate, I'm going to market a fucking concentrate shot to America.
Well, what's stopping them doing short fills now over there? Because technically it's not a vaping product, is it? So there's got to be some sort of loophole over there that if it's zero, like we've got them over here.
Well, you bang an 18 milligram unflavoured e-liquid, which in essence is a Nick shot into a short fill, you're fucking laughing.
If they sort of come up with what we used to call the loophole from flavoured stuff, I'm sure that they'd be able to do that, but they can only sell tobacco. Charlotte's saying it's unflavoured. They can only sell tobacco and menthol, so they can have tobacco and menthol. But who the fuck wants to drip fucking menthol or tobacco? Let's be realistic.
Mate, what about a strawberry pudding tobacco?
You're not allowed any. You're not allowed any. I'd get what you're saying. 100% get what you're saying. And I think they probably fucking do it. But I just think you've got to get around it somehow. But just being able to have menthol or tobacco, I don't know if I'd last, Paul. You might as well be having a fucking fag unless you're fucking doing something else. You know what I mean? Let's be realistic.
Yeah, you know what? For me personally, I'd be comfortable with that because I can use menthol in this, and that's what my vaping experience is about. Is a mouth to lung vape with some. Our biggest selling liquid in the shop is tobacco. So on that basis, as far as mouth to lung market's concerned, we're fucking good to go.
Well, there you go. Charlotte's saying menthol cigarettes have been banned, but they can only sell tobacco and menthol e-liquid. I think there might be a stink from a lot of people. But what's going to happen to stock that's already out there? How are they going to regulate when people are selling fucking... I can tell you it's fucking tobacco, but it's strawberry in bottle. Are they going to reg that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Who the fuck's regulating CPD in the UK, mate? No cunt.
The vapors and the fucking shots are regulating themselves.
Exactly.
So if I put tobacco S and it'll be tobacco strawberry, like you said, or tobacco BP, banana pudding, are they going to reg it? How are they going to reg what's actually being sold? That's what I want to know. Unless it's sort of, I just don't get it. There's definitely an agenda behind it, which confuses me. The fact is that, well, who gives a fuck about flavours? Realistically, if you're going to ban flavours?
What I read on it, the whole point of the flavours is that it was attracting kids.
Fuck off. It's fucking bollocks. That's absolute 100% bollocks.
Mate, I know for a fact that heroin don't come in fucking blueberry muffin flavour. Still fucking injecting the shit in their arm. Cocaine don't come in fucking blueberry muffin flavour. It's still getting shoved up teenagers' noses on the weekly.
That's the problem they have. They have put the ban in place, but there is no details whether they can put 2% tobacco and the rest another flavour. What about tobacco shops? They sell fruity tobacco. Yeah, you get a lot of pipe tobacco has a lot of blends like cherry blends and peach blends and stuff like that. Yeah, I get that, but obviously, to be honest, obviously, I don't want to be the sort of person to be like, it's not on our doorstep. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Because I do. Because at the end of the day, you know, for the vaping industry to go forward, obviously, once upon a time, America were the biggest players, but they haven't been for a long time. They haven't been for a long time.
No, and actually, UK were probably. I'm echoing bad on yours, Tom.
Sorry, let me just share my mic.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wouldn't say even UK's biggest now, but there's places like Russia, there's places like India, there's places like fucking even China. China's probably one of the biggest markets in the world for vaping.
I've seen a lot of new people in China sort of pushing a lot more liquid as well in China as well. So obviously their whole scene maybe have had a big change. Obviously we're not there, so we don't see it. It's not necessarily like we go read fucking Chinese Facebook groups and stuff like that to find out what the scene's like. Maybe we fucking should, but you know, I think for me personally, as we said at the beginning of this topic, that there's definitely a higher agenda on the reason why they've done it. You know, it's huge. It's huge. It's just growing and growing and growing. And obviously it's becoming a problem, even bigger problem over there than it is over here. But there's got to be some sort of fucking maybe loophole that they can do to change it. But for me personally, I think that's got to damage a lot of people.
Well, Charlotte Hudson said something like, she said something like, Paul's really echoing on Tom's mic again. Now, Charlotte Hudson said something about these two, maybe there's details whether they can put 2% tobacco and the rest another flavour. But let's be honest, mate, if a 20% mix, if 2% of that's tobacco, it's not going to ruin most flavours.
They won't touch big tobacco. That's where they make money. They make nothing from vaping. Same in this country. It's all about the money. Yeah, but you've got people like Philip Morris who obviously sees a potential in this market. Unless he won't put his money into it if he didn't see a potential of obviously making a lot of fucking dough from it. Let's be realistic. He's obviously wanting to be the front face of obviously changing people that own cigarettes and smoke cigarettes and that own big companies like that to changing into electronic market. He's obviously wanting to push forward. So that's the reason he's in it. So there must be fucking money in if he's in it.
Mate,
how many places he should?
When you look at the IQOS, and we discussed this before, the IQOS will sell to people that smoke cigarettes. It's not going to be something that a vapor converts onto. It will be something that someone converts from to vaping, or remains on an IQOS forever and a day. And there's whether I haven't got an issue with an IQOS. I've got an issue with an IQOS being put in the same category as a vape pen. Vape mod, a sub-tank, a fucking made-to-lung device, because it's just not the same.
But that's sort of the issue with that with our industry. Our industry is underneath the bracket of tobacco. We're not a tobacco product. That's the main issue I have, is that we are regulated underneath cigarettes. Well, we're not actually a cigarette. So why they're regulating us underneath that? That's my problem. That's the whole reason. In the States, there's a lot more control because obviously the fucking standards in cigarettes is obviously hugely fucking high because of the money that's in it. So they're putting that sort of standard onto vaping, and they know that it's obviously you know, not as rich people in that industry, so they're obviously forcing them to be under them regs where there's billion and billionaires obviously running the industry that it's under. So to me, as we've said, there's obviously a hidden agenda, And obviously, we've been quite lucky. Obviously, we are under the tobacco product. We are, as an e-cigarette in this country, under it, but we've not been hit as hard as they have in the fucking States. And people are saying it will filter to over here. I'm not sure it will. I really don't think it will.
No, I'm not so sure it will, because actually I don't think. I mean, if you look at the way TPD was implemented compared to how FDA implemented the regs in America, they took, by and large, a fairly sensible approach to it. My issue with our TPD is only the milligram restriction on bottles and the milliliter restriction on tanks. Apart from that, mate, I haven't got an issue with TPD, quite frankly. And my only issue with the restriction on milligram is because all these people, lots of them who I know, lots of them who are friends, spent so much money complying to TPD for short fill to completely book that whole system. Completely book it. And in the process of doing that, completely unstable the fucking market. And actually, if you could still buy a 60 or a 120 bottle of 3 or 6 milligram liquid, and it's been made in an ISO 7 lab or a clean room or whatever the exact regs are under TPD, that's what should have happened, in my opinion. That's what any amendment should be. And a milligram restriction on tank size is fucking stupid.
Yeah, the tank sizes and sort of the size of bottles and stuff like that is definitely shite. It is shite. But I think they've gone in the right step, obviously having some sort of regulation in it, because it was an industry that needed regging. Yep. It really did. And we've all said that. We said TPD, and we were all, and no one can deny, when TPD first was coming in, we were all shitting ourselves. It's going to change. It's going to change. It's not really changed anything at all, apart from the actual stock we supply is obviously smaller tanks and smaller milligram dose of e-liquid. But there's always bypasses around that. Nicotine's still being sold on a daily basis at 72 milligram in fucking 5 litre, 10 litre fucking gallons. You know what I mean? It's still being sold.
By companies who are selling it to wholesalers, mate.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen websites where if you want fucking 3 pixies added to your liquid, press this button, and if you want 6 pixies added, press this one, and it's 3 milligram and 6 milligram, and they're using state-of-the-art code because they think they're clever cunts. Actually, we genuinely do not sell anything in our shop that's not TPD compliant. I was in another shop recently, and someone came in for some liquid that was bottled in the shop out the back, and I know they had a mini heart attack because I was in there when this geezer come in and asked for his liquid. And he was like, "Do you want me to put your nick shots in it, bro, out the back?" And this Somalian was like, "Yes, just whatever you normally do." Like, mate, how the fuck do you get 6 milligram in 100 ml bottle? You mate. So it's still going on, mate. And I say I'd never ever leave that shop and then be on the phone to trading stand and say, "Do you know the X shop is selling fucking liquid?" It's not my business. I'm concentrating on my business, what I do, and that's all I'm interested in doing, mate. I'm not interested in fucking someone else over. They'll fuck themselves over. But in the long term, it fucks the industry over, because when they get caught, everyone gets fucking chastised. And for me, if we can sell 20 milligram e-liquid in a 10 ml bottle, why the fuck can't we transfer that 10 ml into a tank? Don't make sense to me at all.
Exactly. It don't make sense. It should be able to do that. I 100% agree with you. I just think, and going back to your situation of being in the shop and stuff, to me, the industry seems that it wants you to do that. You know what I mean? It wants you to get on the phone and be like, you know, Paul's dobbed us in. He's told us about you were there in shop. You know what I mean? The industry itself is very much focused around sort of like dobber dealer. You know what I mean? It's not regulated by anybody. It's regulated by the people that are in it. And to me, that means people will do that. And I'm not surprised if people aren't already fucking done that.
Mate, look at the fucking shitstorm that was just this time last year plus a month ago, when the day before TPD dropped, that email come out about RDAs. And the amount of arseholes I've seen that were going, yeah, well, we've sold all ours cheap. And actually, I don't understand why Paul's got them on his website as cloud competition sports device. It's not on. Listen, worry about your shit. Let me worry about mine. As it goes, the biggest offender of that shit no longer trades, mate. And all I ever think is what goes around comes around. Karma works in funny ways. I've got people saying to me, "Oh, you won't be able to go to Expo, mate. Fucking this is going to happen. That's going to happen." Well, I take my fucking chances.
Yeah, and fucking nothing came about it.
And I still stand by it to this day. I could stand up in a court and argue that RDAs are not covered under TPD because it was badly written and there was a clause completely missing out of that regulation that should have covered RDAs.
Yeah, they didn't know.
There's nothing at all in that fucking TPD about nichrome wire. There's nothing at all in that TPD about Canthal. There's nothing in there about vaping stainless steel. There's nothing about restricting temperature before any nasties are given off the wire. It fucking should be. Because that's the bit that's bad. You know what I mean? It's fucking mad if someone decides to put NOG 200 in their fucking RDA. It's not healthy.
Or they want to put fucking copper wire in because they think it's smart, or they haven't got a fucking clue about wire.
Crazy, mate. It's crazy. And I'm saying that's what I never liked about the TPDs, that it just seemed rushed through just to get something down on paper, and it was badly written, and then up to this day, who the fucking hell is regulating the fucking thing?
No fucker. Has anyone been done for complying with not complying with the TPD? I'm sure trading standards have been out to a few stores and took stuff off them. Definitely, it's without a doubt. Even maybe tanks or bottles.
I mean, James is in the chat James Burr from Evolution is in the chat on Facebook. I believe, I don't know whether James had a visit, but actually one of the issues that they had or potentially had was not so much non-TPD product, was the advertising thing using food. So I know people like Just Jam and all them people that had specific food product printed on their labels, on their boxes, changed it. I know James went through a stage of sticking the stickers over the stock he had saying, this is not a food product. It's not to be consumed as a food product. That is just catering to the absolute stupid, mate. It's as simple as that. And I'm not aware of any shop that's, I know back in the early days, there was shops that had short fills took off the shelf. Because
they didn't understand what it was, because they just saw big bottles.
They didn't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, they just see big bottles and assume it's obviously nicotine-containing liquid. But obviously, if they looked at the bottle and knew what it was, it goes back to, we've said it before, trading standards. It comes down to who is training the trading standards to be able to go into a vape shop and know what stuff is. Nobody, because nobody in trading standards is going to be an expert on vaping. Okay, then maybe somebody who vapes, but there's not going to be somebody who's an expert in the industry and what this does and what that does and how this works. So who's doing their training? It all comes down to that. And who's regging it? No one's fucking regging it. Us as vapors are regging the own industry ourselves. It's literally a piece of paper that we have to follow, like the fucking Bible or any other religion that you follow, and just fucking follow that by that. That's what you've got to do. It's not actually anybody coming out to your shops and saying, this is how you've got to comply. We're going to help you. This is the way you should be doing it because we know how we're doing it. Trading standards don't do that because they ain't got a fucking clue themselves.
Right, you know what? The amount of money that was spent by companies TPD complying products, right? They should have trained. They only needed to train a dozen people. A dozen people with the ins and outs of Meg's arse of that regulation to be able. I know for a fact I could have an 8mm tank on my shop, and if I'd said to China, ensure that the packaging is TPD compliant, they'd pick up the box and they'd fucking put it straight back down again. I don't believe for a minute any trading standards regulator is going to walk into my shop and punch the EC number.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the register and then go, hang on a minute, mate. There's no EC registration against this. I don't believe it.
Yeah, but even some of the registrations are still going through, Paul. Some of the registration numbers are still going through.
What I'm saying. There's still product that's actually fully TPD compliant on that list because it's not been registered properly yet. But that's, I mean, at the end of the day, we know people between us, Tom, that spent millions of pounds between them all combined, millions of pounds to regulate them products. I know we sold off thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stock cheap leading up to TPD. I know James Burr sold off thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stock pre-TPD. And all my pals around me that are involved in liquid manufacturers spent millions between them combined to regulate, and not one trading standards officer has got a fucking clue, mate. And they're walking into shops and pulling shortfalls off shelves because, it's absolute bollocks.
It's a big bottle. It must be containing nicotine. You know what I mean? That's the sort of mindset it is. With trading standards, they haven't got a clue. They really, really haven't. And it goes back to sort of, once again, the FDA over in the States. Who's the fuck's regging that? Who's going around the shops doing that? I've never heard of anybody going around a shop in the States and going, well, you shouldn't have this and you shouldn't have that and you shouldn't be doing this. I've never heard of it. It's all, there was a Facebook group of people, supposed advocates that created the blacklist. And it was the blacklist of people that had basically cartoon characters on the front of their bottles of juice. And they slated every single one of them.
People need to get fucking laid. Honestly, they need to get fucking laid, or they need to take up a hobby, or take up knitting or crocheting or making big fucking stitch blankets or some other shit. They need to fucking fill the time. The trouble with this industry and every other industry in the world, jealous cunts are like, how the fuck can he make money when he's just put a cartoon character on his liquid? Who gives a flying fuck? Right, worry about your life, worry about what you're doing. Don't give a fuck about what everyone else is doing. But actually, this industry is full of people in the main that are watching everyone else, not watching their own shit.
Yep.
Even if you've got a picture of a fucking, it's like someone posted a picture before of a kid holding a bottle of liquid. Mate, when I was growing up, our mum would be fucking passing me a cigarette to hold while she was lighting the birthday candles on my fucking 7th birthday cake. And then she'd get it back in her mouth, fucking hanging out of her mouth, lighting the fucking candles, bit of ash on the cake, bit of smoke in me fucking face. Fuck's sake, man. It's like, I don't know.
It's PC gone mad, isn't it? It's PC gone mad. Too many people worried about what's going on.
You know what? I see some of them people who post about branding and stuff like that. And in the main, it's people that have not been particularly successful. And actually, it's like they're sitting there, like looking to trick people over, looking to fucking snitch on them, man. And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you, and fuck the way that your mind works, because it just don't sit right with me, mate. Don't sit. Like I says, I was in a shop, a big name shop as well, recently, where they were bottling this liquid up out the back, and I know he was in the horrors because I was in the shop, and I know he was like, fuck's sake, man. I'm not naming and shaming no one, man. It's not my place to. Actually, they're choosing to do it. I say from the 19th of May last year, we done a live feed until midnight on the 19th.
You did a live feed fucking 4 or 5 days.
We done a live feed for a week leading up to the 19th of May, but I was in the shop until midnight on the 19th of May, doing live feeds. We sold we had one plastic box, just bits of shit left. And actually, it got pinched out of the shed out the back of the shop the other week. We'd never touched it. We hadn't sold it. It was all just bits of scrap, bits of tat, and I just fucked it in a box and we stuck it in the shed outside. There weren't even a lock on the shed, mate. It's not like they fucking broke our door down. It was just thrown in an outside cupboard and some fucking pikeys pinched it. But I've never sold nothing in that shop knowingly that's not TPD compliant.
Yeah.
And that's just my choice to do that. I didn't want to be the guy that they made an example of. And me and James had a conversation about this 12 months ago, and I just says, in my opinion, the Midlands is the capital of the vaping in the UK, in my opinion. There's all the big players are down there and the big juice companies around there. That's not decrying Dale up north and any other shops that are smashing things left, right and centre. But generally, there's some big players around the West Midlands or the greater West Midlands. And I just said to James, I think they're going to try and make an example of someone who is considered a name in this industry. Now, I'm not saying I'm the be-all and end-all of vaping, but I just did not want to be that guy. And also, mate, there's a queue of people from here to fucking Glasgow that'd happily phone up trading standards and say, Paul Harrison's selling 25 milligram 10 ml bottles in his shop. He's a cunt, man. Go down and arrest him and lock him up and throw away the key. I just didn't want to be that guy. And on that basis, we don't do it. And we're just now looking at new battery suppliers just so I can be fully compliant on batteries, because we've always gone direct to China for them. So actually, I'm using a company that take on the responsibility of the import. They're tested. They've got the certs. They've got the paperwork to say these batteries are that cell. They do this. They do that. Then batteries will cost me more. We probably won't even put the price up in our shop. I'll swallow it, whatever that difference is. But I try and do things properly. I try and do it right. And anyone that's not doing it right, I haven't got an issue with. But these people that have not been fucked since the priest fucked them back in 1986, who were sitting there going, oh my God, that's not TPD compliance. Oh, I'm going to start a Facebook group and name and shame these people. Go fuck you miserable salesman and get a grip of your laws, because you need to get fucking laid. That's it. I don't even know what else to say on it. It drives me fucking mad.
100%. I agree with everything you said. I agree with it.
Paul's rants.
That is definitely one of Paul's rants.
Don't take it out on me for big bottles of liquid just because you got interfered with by the priest, right? It's not my fucking problem. It's not my fault. I was an naughty boy. I was subjected to the fucking vicar's advances.
Right, well, we've got a subject that we've next up, which we didn't go to, but we can definitely discuss because of the stuff we're seeing all over Facebook. And the topic we're going to discuss next is Vape Collective. I don't know what Vape Collective.
Well, anyone that vended at Vape Collective this year, next year in July, we're putting on a vape event in my back garden. and I'm expecting to pull 30 or 40 people in, man. So I want £450 for your pasting table. I mean, you know what, Tom? All joking aside, I think the Vaping Collective should be a good event. I know it wasn't. I know it was a washout. If I'm being honest, I think the people behind it are not promoting that event enough. I didn't see it anywhere, mate. The only shit I seen about Vape Collective was, I can't even remember the gentleman's name, but they were inboxing me to say, Paul, come and vend, please come and vend. We'd love to have you there. Now, I didn't do it just for one sole reason, and that's because I couldn't be there this weekend and you couldn't be there that weekend. And on that basis, there's no one else I could send up there with my stock and trust to be selling fucking £30 worth of fucking gear. But I mean, all jokes aside, it should be a good event. And look, we travelled up to the first one on the basis that there's nothing up that end of the country.
Yeah.
People should make an effort. Now, the bottom line is, if that event was advertised correctly and properly and was promoted, and you know what, I'm again, this is just my trail of thought. It's not necessarily the thoughts of the BBC and Channel 4. I think the reason why they haven't pushed it as well as they should have done, is because actually they had no big names behind it to push. Because actually, when I got sent the vendors list, I was a bit like, who are them? Who are them? Who are them? Oh, I know them. Who are them? Who are them? Who are them? I know them. Who are them? Who are them? Who are them?
Was it that many?
I mean, I had 20. No, in fact, when me and you discussed it, Tom, there was the 13 or 15.
It's about 15 vendors.
15 vendors on the list. None of them were what I would consider a name that would pull any people in. And I'm not saying that we would have pulled people in, but I mean, you've got Vampire Vape, you've got the Yorkshire Vapor, you've got Evolution Vaping, you've got Zeus, you've got big names that could have been there where people go, you know what, I'm going to go up there just to see James or Matt Burr or Martin, or I'm going to go up there and see Arthur, I'm going to go up there and see Dale and the lads from TYV, I'm going to go up there and see Tom and Paul or whatever it might be. And actually then, because some people go, more people go, and because more people go, more people go, and it's just like a self-perpetuating thing that will make that event better. I can honestly say that I've seen nothing about Vape Collective apart from people on my friends list who were going, and inbox message from them asking us to go and vend. And if it was advertised correctly, the only people to blame for a bad turnout then, providing you've got the right level of vendors there, is the people in the north, whether they can be asked to even get out of bed before 2 o'clock in the afternoon and drive there. And you can never gauge that. But the first time when we heard about this back in 2016, I think the first one was, I said to Tash, you know what, it'd probably be a good day, to be fair, because there's nothing up that end of the country. For us personally, it's a fucking nearly a 3-hour drive to Doncaster.
Yep.
And we literally, you know yourself, mate, we come up there, we sat in TYV's tent from when we done one lap in about 6 minutes, and I had to have a piss. I had to have a piss and get a beer in that 6 minutes. I spoke. Was Damien Mortar was there, weren't there? Damien Mortar was there.
His guitar, wasn't he?
So I spoke to Damien. I spoke to Damien Fairhurst. Is that his name?
Yeah, Damon Fairhurst. Yeah.
Fairhurst. I spoke to UK USA. I spoke to James Russell from CCC. I spoke to
everyone in the TYV.
and then we was at TYV all day. And actually, for me, it was worth the drive just to fucking come up there and have that day with you guys. Buy Tom some full fat coke before his sugar levels go to shit. Tan and Rian were there as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think Collective should be a good event just because of where it's located in the country. I just don't think they put enough effort in.
Yeah, for them people.
I think what I had a debate about. Sorry to cut that off.
They want someone to do this at the event and want the basically jobs.
What did Tash say?
That she's seen an advert today for Vape Collective asking for social media people to get involved, website people. So they've obviously realised that they're lacking in the way that it's been advertised, marketed, pushed.
I was going to apply for a job, but it's voluntary.
Tash said she was going to apply for a job, but it's voluntary.
To me, I've had this debate about the whole sort of marketing way they've gone about it and stuff like that. To me, you look at stuff like even Jam, Expo, Vape Fest. With Vape Fest, obviously they ask the vendors to give 3 posts out on social media about people who are going to the event. If you're vending an event anyway, that 3 posts is by the by because you're going to do that anyway.
We've paid any amount of, even if Vape Fest gave us a pitch free of charge, paid for our marquee free of charge, paid for me fucking hay bales, come and collected my shit from the shop and took it up there and set it up, I'd still be pushing the back end out of it because it's in my interest to go there and have a busy day, not from a financial point of view, to drag people along to that event. And out of all of the events, my preferred one is Vape Fest. You know yourself, mate, from a cash point of view, if we break even, I don't give a fuck. I'm not there to turn over fucking 5, 10, 15,000 pounds in a weekend. It's not what I'm about with Vape Fest. I actually really enjoy Vape Fest. I enjoy that vibe. I enjoy the fact that kids can come. I enjoy the fact that families can turn up. It's free. You can come in there. I'm definitely not about that camping life. It'd take me longer to set up a fucking glamping pod than it would to fucking set up a marquee, mate. But actually, I really like Vape Fest, and it's in our interest, my interest, Tasha's interest, your interest, our staff's interest, to actually promote that we're going to be there and try and draw some people there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's people that want to come along to see us, to talk to us, to have a crack with us, to have a laugh and a joke with us. I don't get why the vendor, saying that, mate, it might be that some of the vendors that I'd seen on the collective list I'd never heard of. On that base, I might not be on their groups. I might not be friends with the people involved. Therefore, I'm not seeing their shit that they're sharing. So I'm not saying that the vendors weren't sharing. Obviously, if James Burr was doing collective, he's got a whole entourage of people that can share. What? Yeah. He's got an entourage of people that can share it on all different levels, to all different people, through all different groups, the same as we have, the same as Grays have, the same as Zeus have. When it's a little one-man band making liquid, and I'm not decrying that, they've obviously got the circle of people that they sell to. Are them circle of people the sort of people that are going to travel 2 or 3 hours to an event to see them and support them? Probably not. So on that basis, I don't know how you change the mechanics of Vape Collective and how it works and who goes and who vends there. But the trouble is, it's had 2 poor responses. Who the fuck takes a punt on the 3rd poor response?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you've got this catch-22 where if lots of people do it, will the punters not turn up because of it's been poor in the past? So then do we do it, don't we do it? If you don't do it, you've got that poor vendor list again. If you've got the poor vendor list as people who's going to say, I ain't fucking driving up there to buy a fucking 10 mil of piss pot shit liquid off fucking Bob. So I don't know. I don't know how you change the mechanics of the collective, to be quite honest. To say my general statement is that it should be a good event because of where it's located. And there's fuck all up north. We all know it's grim up north. But actually, they did do that specifically for the northern market to be in a different area. So they haven't got to travel down to the Midlands. They haven't got to travel down to London. They haven't got to travel over to Shrewsbury. There's something in their manner. And then people can't be asked to turn out. But then and I'm not even saying this because for what they wanted off us, mate, to vend there, it was fucking pennies by comparison.
Yeah.
But actually, should have they been offering some people some free spaces and the market, or at least the free pitch? I mean, the pitch was negligible. It was fucking hell. It was the price of a decent fucking meal. So I mean, I'm not saying that because I wanted a free pitch offering to me. But in my opinion, when you're trying to put on an event of that scale, and it bombed the first time, because if Dale weren't there the first time, mate, it would have been pretty much like the second one. That's the truth of it. I don't know how you attract the people there. You've got to attract the right vendors to attract the punters, and then the punters have got to respond properly and turn up and show their support. Because then next year people are going, fucking, I didn't realise you were going. You cunt, I'm definitely going to go to that next year, and we'll hook up. And obviously these events like Expo, they grow year on year because people are going, I didn't know about that. I'll come to that one next year. And then next year they're talking to each other. Have you got your ticket? Are you going? We're definitely going. Do you want to jump in our car? Do you want to do this? Be collective. It just seemed to come and go. And actually, I seen James Clark's live feed, and I was a bit like, I've had more people in my back garden, mate, for a fucking barbecue.
To me personally, and it goes, I've had this debate already last week, and the weekend. I've had the debate basically that you've got shows like Vaping with Vic saying here, V Wood CK, or is it the Vaping with Vic? I think it's Vaping with Vic. Fest has the marketing down to a T. Collective needs a bit more marketing, but it's good. Got a good foundation. I think it has. But to me, shows like Expo do all self-marketing. Them as the organisers do as much, if not more. It's the Vic. Do a lot more marketing themselves than the vendors do, and they're not actually. Vendors aren't actually obliged to do it. And as we've already stated, we'd do it anyway because it's in our interest to do that. But I sort of think that a lot more marketing comes in from the actual organisers and actually wanting to get people into their event. And that sort of came across to me that even Expo, they've even got representatives that go on Instagram or on Facebook, and they're actually doing that job of well for them. Collective didn't have that sort of, they was posting in their own group. And whether the group's got 3 to 3,000, 300, a million, if you're only representing to that genre of people and that sort of people, you're not actually going out to the bubble and going, actually, there's a group over there that's got 15,000 people, there's a group over there that's got 5. You're not actually going out of the way to actually go to other groups and market what you've got going on. So nobody's going to know about it unless they actually know about the event. And then once again, it goes back to who's vending it. You know, if there isn't that push on vendors, then nobody's going to go, because let's be realistic, people will go. And regards to how you said it, Paul, I think people will go because they're going. Whether someone stands there and goes, I'm off to Collective, come see me, it don't matter, because people are going to want to go because that person's already there. So they've already done marketing without marketing it, if you get what I mean. That person's face is there. People will follow that face.
So what Collective needed to do was they needed to get fucking Pro Green on the fucking shit, pad hanging around his neck.
I
don't disagree. But I mean, I'm not even decrying the foundation of Collective, mate. And I know that the people behind it now are passionate about what they're doing and they're keen to push it forward. I don't know how they pull off a third event, quite honestly.
That's it. That's exactly it for me. I think you people are going to, well, give it a shot. You know, even Adam drove 3.5 hours to get there, and he was just like, yeah, I've had a donut, I'm off now, see you later.
Adam was buzzing, mate, that he had donut and slush puppy. That was it. That was the whole lot of Adam's day. Apart from that, he wasn't impressed with Expo. I mean, with Collective. But the truth of it is, if Adam had got there and you were there even as a customer walking around, and me and Tash popped up, and there was 10 or 20 people get to meet together, and you have a 3 or 4 hours good crack, and the weather was decent, and you have a pint of beer together, and another walk around the circle for 2 minutes, and then another pint, and another walk around the circle for 2 minutes, it creates a completely different vibe, because then it's not about 60 million vendors and all top names and top people. It's actually about, you know what, the event itself was a bit shit, but I had a wicked day. So then next year, if you manage to, because I can honestly say, when I look at that vendors list, if and I don't know whether James Burr's still watching or whether he's got the same trail of thought, but it's going to take one decent person to sign up, and then a second and a third and a fourth for people to start saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to have a punt as well.
Well, the thing is, how do you get it people around to actually wanting to do it when they've already got their recognition of what's gone on? And obviously there's been some negatives about the raffle that went on and stuff like that. I don't know if you know about the negatives about the raffle.
Mate, if I'm honest, I've seen nothing about Vape Collective. I've not seen anything from the Vape Collective apart from Adam Rayner and James Clark.
Well, supposedly, and this is me going off what I've read, and this is maybe not factual or whatever, so don't take it as facts. But what I've heard from people are saying that it sounded like the raffle was a little bit rigged as well, and people were winning 4 or 5 different prizes, and it wasn't very fair. So
there was fucking 13 people there. Some cunt's got to win the fucking prizes.
You know what? Supposedly there was like 4 different colours of raffle tickets, and of one colour there was about 200 tickets sold, probably at like a penny each. There was like 200 raffle tickets, and I said probably about a penny each. There was 200 raffle tickets sold in like blue, and then there was like 50 in like red, blue, and all over different colours, were like 50, 60. And so supposedly when this raffle was done, they were just literally picking the numbers off the top. And I've heard this in a podcast, I've heard this in a live feed, and basically that it was basically stiffed, really, with it. So the negative post from people who actually went to Collective was that the raffle was stiffed, and when they did the announcement, there was obviously families and kids there, and there was a hell of a lot of swearing on the mic and stuff like that, and it wasn't very family.
Listen, if you're not into fucking bad language, don't come to Vape Fest, mate. I've got the karaoke coming, mate. We're going to be the karaoke kings of the field. And Anger's language is probably worse than mine now, not really. You know what? I think when you're targeting an event to families, you've got to respect the fact that families are there, and you've got to respect that not all families are used to hearing the word cunt, fuck, and bugger. And as far as raffle's concerned, mate, if there's any ambiguity over the raffle, even if it wasn't rigged, the fact that it's been mentioned, it's been badly managed.
Yeah.
Because they should be able to say categorically, even if Paul Harrison won all 13 prizes or whatever the prize pot was, that is absolute coincidence, because this is what we've done. This is how we done it. This is how the numbers were pulled out. That is just the luck of the draw. But if it's that badly managed that people are suspecting that it's rigged, it doesn't matter whether it was or it wasn't. It needs to be managed differently and properly. And quite frankly, mate, I would be, as a vendor, I don't know whether we had to put a raffle prize in if we vended. I don't know what the crack was. I don't know whether they're like copying that bit of Vape Fest. Because I know when we vend at Vape Fest, one of the things we have to do is put a raffle prize in, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I thought the raffle was fucked, mate, I wouldn't be putting nothing in there. And if they don't let me vend there, they can stick the dodgy events up their arse. And that's just how I would think about it straight off the get-go. So I don't know, mate. I mean, Vaping with Vic's put there, yep, the third event is going to need a major marketing push, live shows, magazines, spread, even contact some UK reviewers to get them to mention it. The same thing Fest done at the beginning. Something major needs to happen with the way that Collective is marketed.
I just feel it's got too much of a negative pull, me personally, with all the sort of not the best show, and then obviously this raffle thing, and then obviously language and stuff, you know. It down to like Fest, and this is not me sort of stroking Fest's ego. So every time we've been to Fest and whatnot, it's always been great atmosphere. It's very family atmosphere. Last year, you know, Ava and Mia were stood on A-Bell singing, and it was wicked. You know what I mean? Just having a laugh like that. It was just really fun and sort of family friendly. And to me personally, it's sort of, you know, if you've got negativity over a show, people are going to instantly go, fuck it. Do you know, whether there was tenfold, you know, more positive than there was negative, it's them little things that just, you know, consumers going to be like, fuck that, we're not going, why are we going to go? It's just going to be shit, you know. It's down to, we go back to the marketing things and stuff, you know, Fest and stuff like that. Fest have got it that much down to a T that they really don't need to do any marketing. Same with Expo, they don't need to do marketing because now the shows. But do you ever remember a time when Expo really jumped on sort of doing a massive marketing scheme? Because I never really saw them doing a big, massive marketing.
No, did I?
So, sort of to me, is that the standard that the show's
When you look at the likes of Expo now, mate, we've done our first one back in 2016, May 2016, and we booked our slot in about March 2016, maybe even April 2016. We were fortunate enough that we got onto our stand for the October one the morning that they were released. Mate, by the end of that day, I would say 90% of prime pitches are done in 24 hours. And that's because people want to go there. The numbers that they pulled in, I mean, people were still saying, oh, May one was shit, man. It was dead. It was fucking busy. Well, you know yourself, mate. We were in there. It was non-stop for us. So maybe we just attracted all the customer our way. I don't fucking know, but it was certainly busy for us. There was lots of people through the door. And the bottom line is, all the vendors must be getting a response, because I bet 80% of every fucking stand taken out of the 90% that sold in 24 hours are repeat business. And they're not putting, and you know yourself, mate, these expos ain't cheap. To me, collective, financially, we could have been there and done it for less than £1,000. I'm not asked about that £1,000, not in a flippant way, not because I'm a fucking multi-millionaire baller, because it's £1,000. And I could have just sold one of Tasha's mods and just covered the cost of that weekend, or a pair of her shoes or something like that, or a fucking handbag, or.
He wants to get divorced as well.
So financially, it's not a problem. When we get to Expo, we're looking at sort of £15,000 to £20,000 for us, and we're not even going there big. You got the likes of fucking James. I don't even know what James spends. I mean, obviously, it's all horses for courses, because James is a fucking multi-billionaire, so it doesn't really make any difference. But, yeah, I mean, me spending £1,000 there is like James just chucking a mill at it, mate. Him and Mandy balling. No, but I mean, obviously that money's invested on the basis that between May and October, you get a return, whether that be through direct sales, for James in particular, for wholesale and stocking other retailers, Mandy the same. For us, we've always been fortunate. We've done good retail sales at the events, and then the business there afterwards follows. But if it didn't follow, we just wouldn't do it, because we couldn't afford to keep throwing them sort of size bundles of money at a project that weren't bringing us any return back in. Exactly. Fest, I think, is going to cost us probably a couple of grand. By the time we paid for the pitch, got the generator, the hay bales, the marquee, we've drove up there 2 days, paid for you to do what you're coming down and all them sort of things. Whatever it costs us to hire the van, to get the stock there, all them bits and pieces, it's a couple of grand. But for me, it's a couple of grand that I'd spend every year just to go to that event and be there. The fact that you get invited there is cool for me. I say it's nice that I only get invited because of you, though. You couldn't have never used to invite me before. Bullshit, nothing, mate. I never got invited to fucking fest before.
Bullshit.
I was a pike in someone else's tent the first time we done it there, mate. We sneaked in. Yeah, now they've got a rule saying you cannot share your fucking tent, and that was probably put in because of me. But I mean, for me, it's cool. It's cool that we get invited to this event. There's people there like Damien, like Lee Adler from Eden Mods, who we have a little catch up and a chat, and they're not people that I'm speaking to every day. They're mixing different circles within social media that I'm mixing in, but I always have a decent, good level of chat with Damien every time I bump into him. He's a nice chap, and we have a good laugh and a joke, and he's doing his thing week in, week out with his safer vapors and his high-end stuff, and I'm doing my thing, selling Chinese shit and clones. But actually, I've never walked around there once and had an atmosphere and people going, oh my God, that's Paul Harrison from Endless and Shady Vaping, fuck them. It's not about that. It's just not. I've never seen any drama there. We've been there for the last 4 years or 5 years. The first couple of years as just me and Tash walking around, and we've met some staff there and we've bumped into people we know. But the first time we ever went there to look for new business to get some stock into the shop. And actually, we did pick up a liquid from there from Richie, what's his name?
We did actually, didn't we?
We picked up.
Oh, what was it called?
Tan and Rian took it on, didn't they, as distro? What's his name? He went to America, Richie Summit, and he was there with his mum and dad. He was there with his mum and dad in his caravan, mate, on his pacing table with his 15ml bottles. And I was like, you know what? His flavours were fire. And again, he was like, I don't like. he's one of them people that I think had he marketed that liquid properly at the time, mate, he'd have fucking killed it and should have made a lot of money. I don't know what he did make. I'm sure he made money out of what he done. We used to sell a huge amount of it, but actually, we're going back 4 years when flavors weren't a massive thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't a million different brands of liquid out there. And actually, I tried these liquids and I remember driving back saying, Sash, you know what? These liquids are fire, man. They're different. And were they 50-50 as well, 6, 5, and 18s? And actually, it was like, there was a vanilla custard in there and a banana something else and them type of flavors, but for 50-50 made too long because sub-homing weren't a major thing then.
Yeah.
Either. So we went there just to see was there any hookups for the business, and we got one. And after that, we went there because it was a social event that I felt we should go to, and I enjoy going to it, and I enjoy bumping into Tan and Rianne and Damien and John and all them people that I don't sort of mingle with on a day-to-day basis on social media. They're whizzing around in different circles to me. So
I just think you've got that different pull and sort of collective could have or would have. You know, I think it's got a total different pull where the fact is that it is a very mixed crowd. You know, you go to Expo and you expect what you want from Expo. You know, you do get a lot of free shitters and, you know, I mean, it's sort of still people still expect it, even though it's not like that at all anymore. And especially like Fest, you go to Fest, you think about free shit, you might as well not fucking turn up because that is definitely what not the event is about. It is literally about sort of people bringing the families together and having a hobby and having some sort of interest in vaping, where
Mate,
it's boom, boom.
90% of the vendors there are going there to camp, to get pissed, to have a laugh and a joke, to hook up and do what they're doing. And you know, for you personally, all them high-end snobs that don't like me, they're all your pals. So you have like no, but I mean, I know you enjoy that much of it as much as the day bit where you've got our customers coming over and people coming to you. And but actually the whole thing makes that weekend, even on the Sunday when people are mouldy as fuck because the Saturday night's been a heavy one, and that's just part of Vape Fest. It is what it is, and it works how it works. Again, for us personally, we're lucky it's 50 minutes away from the house or 45 minutes from the house, so we can drive over. We haven't got to slum it in a tent, and we can have a day there, and we can drive back, and we can be back there on Sunday morning. I enjoy it. I enjoy Fest. I like it. And actually, I think Fest will be better this year than any year. I've just got a feeling that more people will come. I don't know.
Relaxed atmosphere in it.
Yeah, I just really like Fest, mate. I do. I think it's a good event.
Let's just see what Vape Collective bring for the future then, because obviously it's got a lot of stuff to bring. It just let's hope.
You know what, mate? It's got 12 months to work hard and get some names in and also market it properly, and they could turn that event around. I mean, I never went to it weren't even at Shrewsbury Showground, was it? The first couple of times, Vape Fest.
Vape Fest, no, it was in Tamworth.
So, I mean, I never went to them ones, so I haven't got a clue out what the response was, what the turnout was.
The Tamworth one was literally it was our booth at Expo, just gone, with fucking 12,000 people in it, 10,000 people, just literally rammed. Absolutely couldn't fucking move. But when the very first, and when we go back to sort of the very first Vape Fest, I missed the very first one, and it was literally fucking 12 people in a pub, but there was only 12 vapors at the time, so it didn't really fucking matter that there was 12 people fucking in a pub, because that's where, in essence, all the expos started. That is the originator is Vape Fest. You know, there was nothing before it. That's where it started. That's where it kicked off. And to me personally, it's been, what is it, like the ninth? I think it's the 9th year or the 8th year this year. You know, they've been going a long time, and sort of people who go to Vape Fest because they know the vibe of it and what it's about. And I think Collective need to grab that sort of essence by its bollocks and be like, we're going to make this the people show, because that's what Vape Fest is. It's the people show. They go because you get to see everybody you want seen. Yes, we do that at Expo, but we do that with fucking Drake and fucking Dr. Dre banging in fucking background. You know what I mean? So it's different vibe, and I think they have got a lot of, you know, weight that they can change it, but they really need to grab it by its bollocks and change it, because if not, they're done. They really are done, and that's just me saying it real. because you don't have to self-market for going to Expo. You don't need to really self-market to go to Fest, because that crowd is already there. You know, people have been planning Fest and people have been planning Expo a year in advance. I'm sure we were on about, oh, we'll do collective, and then when we saw 15 people there, it was like, yeah, there's going to be more vendors than there is footfall. And it's sort of, is it realistically going to work for people? And I do hope I'm the best. It's not like a
long way for us to, even if you've got to drive down from Leeds to come to Birmingham to hire a van to set the shit up, and me and Tasha jump in a car and follow you up there. It's fucking, for you to drive down to Birmingham's 2.5, 3 hours. Yeah. Then we've got to get to the shop. It's going to take us 3 hours to load up the van. Then we've got to drive up there. We've got to get the marquee, sort all our shit out, set it all up. And then to stand there scratching your ass for the weekend because there's not even people to have a laugh and a joke with. And to be fair, Tom, I like having a laugh and a joke with you, but all weekend's too fucking much without anyone else to break up the time of day. It's just like, it's long. If there was a brand new event in Solihull that's fucking 20 minutes from the shop, I'd always give it a punt, because I've got fuck all to lose by trying it. But just to drive up to Doncaster, and then obviously you had to camp out for the weekend and do whatever you're doing, and it just seemed like a lot of hassle to me for what we were going to get. That said, we were going to come up, but we had something to do on Saturday. I had to sit around in my pants all day. So I mean, we was going to come up just to support the people that had bothered their ass to go and vend there. To be fair, I just couldn't get there this weekend, which was a shame.
Don't forget, it was Download last weekend, so that would have made an impact, and it was also the Spanish Expo as well on that weekend. So there was vendors already out in,
and it was fucking one big weekend at Wembley. And I mean, you've got to think about what's going on around the country when you decide to put a fucking event on up north.
Yeah,
down south, in the middle, doesn't matter where it is. You've still got to think about what else is going on around the world. And when you've got 50,000 people or 80,000 or 90,000 in Wembley or whatever the fuck Wembley holds, you've got to assume that some of them are vapors.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're not going to be at collective because they're in fucking London.
Yeah, you can Download, which was middle. I don't know where Download is, like somewhere past Birmingham, I think it is. Download's like a rock festival. Then you've got obviously the big one that was down in London. You had the Spanish Expo, and then you've got Collective, which is just obviously didn't seem to boom. I just want to mention what Pixie said. Pixie said maybe some small companies might try Collective to see if they're ready for Expo. I don't think it would even give you the sort of experience even going to something like that. It's a total different ball game is going to Expo than it is to going to anywhere else. It's a total different ball game. So I don't think even smaller companies would go just to give it a blast to say, are we ready for Expo? Because it's an investment that some people just can't take on the chin. So I don't think that was the case. I think it was just people obviously wanting to go to a show. It was a little show that wasn't too expensive to vend. And obviously I can more than likely say that probably 99% of people was obviously disappointed with the outturn. So what come on, Donington Park, I'm sorry, that's wherever that is. Sorry, but that's it for me. I just personally think they need to get their ass in gear. But I do hope on the best for the future. Don't get me wrong, this isn't negative. It's proper us saying it as people who would vend it.
Like I said to you, my very first sentence to all of that was, it should be a good event, because there's nothing else up that neck of the woods. So actually, if it's marketed right, if they can pull the right names in for the vendors, them vendors will pull people in just by default. Simple as that.
Definitely. Well, we've got a good subject to end on. Got a really good subject to end on. We're going to end on the new mod that's been released, and me and Paul have definitely got different feelings about this mod, so I think it's going to be brilliant, which is the Bat Pack from Joytech, which is the mod that takes AA batteries. What was your first thing when you saw this, Paul? Honestly, what would you...
what my first thing is that Joytech are claiming to have the first AA device, and they're talking out of their arsehole, because I seen AA devices 2 and 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That took C4 clearomisers with the old sticky out ego fitting on the top of it. So from that point of view, Joytech, stop trying to steal people's fucking thunder. You weren't the first. That said, I've looked at the device. I've spoke to our contacts about getting some product in. I like the device. I like the thought that goes behind it. I like the fact that it takes AA batteries. My biggest concern with that device was that it's standard 510 fitting, and if you whack a 0.5 coil on it, there's no way you're going to get the fucking amp draw from 2 AA batteries. Now, what I've since found out is that it self-regulates to 1.85 volts regardless. Now, on that note, in my opinion, Joytech should have come up with a unique fitting for that mod that only takes that tank.
Yeah.
Because it will, in theory, it will only run that clearomizer or that tank. It's a mouth to lung tank, isn't it? So on that basis, they could have put any fucking fitting they like on that because it's only compatible with their tank, and it stops.
I've not tried it yet, but saying it's a mouth. The thing is for me, saying it's a mouth to lung, especially with that tank on it, it's a 0.5 coil.
That's 0.6.
I've not tried it, so I can't say anything about it. Me personally, with 2 AA batteries and a fucking 0.5 coil, I don't have a clue how long this fucking battery life is going to last.
Mate, I didn't even realise it was a 0.5.
0.5. 0.5 mouth to lung.
And maybe it's done like that so it ramps up quicker, so you're not taking big long drag. I don't know. I've read the safety data sheets on it today, and in essence, they've put some thought into the way that it works electrically, so it can't vent batteries and stuff like that. It makes perfect sense for someone who's flying out the country to not have to have 18 650s on them and chargers. You can get off the fucking plane. You can buy yourself some batteries at the airport, stick them in and knock yourself out. I don't believe it's going to be someone's all-day vape because of the expense of running it on batteries. I believe that the batteries that come with it that are rechargeable can be recharged in a night core, etc. style battery chargers. For me, it's a really, really, really handy device if you're out on the road, a sales rep or something like that, and you've got one in your car and your fucking mod breaks or your batteries go flat, and you can pull into any news agents, buy yourself a decent set of batteries and put it in there. I know that, Tom will tell you about his experience of someone he spoke to that reviewed it and tried it and stuff like that regarding batteries.
Yeah, he's basically, obviously it's regulated to 1.8 volts, but the actual mod itself goes down to 0.2. So if you put a 0.2 build with say an RDA, you're going to be pulling about 8 fucking watts, 5 watts if that. So it's not going to be worth it anyway if it drops down to 0.2 anyway. So I don't understand why the regulated for that. But supposedly it won't shitty Poundland batteries. So if you go buy 90 million AAs from Poundland, it ain't going to happen because it won't fire off an 800 fucking shitty Poundland battery. But the whole thing behind it is of it being an AA mod. I'm echoing. Refresh your camera.
Me?
Yeah, I'm echoing. Just mute it again. He's left. He's gone. He'll be back. I'll wait till Paul comes back. So I have spoken to somebody who's reviewed it. I'll speak to somebody who's reviewed it. I won't go into names who's reviewed it, just in case they don't want me to sort of name them. But they've obviously tried batteries in it that was Poundland batteries, and it won't even fire. It just flashed at him. So obviously that's a massive positive, because I was looking at it as it's being reviewed as a unregulated device. Well, to me, it's not an unregulated device because it's got safety aspects to it. It doesn't have a MOSFET or anything like that. I don't know I don't know the technology that's in it, so I'm not going to claim to know it. But it won't fire if it obviously goes over the 1.8 volts, and obviously an 800 mAh Poundland battery is not going to run it. So don't expect to go out and buy this mod. You're going to run Duracells. Duracells are going to give you about 150 puffs. The rechargeables are going to give you 800. To me, unless you're running the rechargeables, it's very much pointless in running it, because you're going to get, an hour out of it if you're going to be chugging it. So I agree with Paul that it's a good device to have as an emergency backup, But as an all-day device, you know, there's definitely things on the market that's like what Paul's using at the minute that runs him all day long, and it's probably the same price on the market. So for an AA mod,
yeah, I have not got a clue what they go for. I'm not even sure whether they're. I mean,
I think they're about 40 quid. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you know what, mate? I spoke to our supplier today and says, let me know when they're in. But I was working on the basis these things were going to be selling for like 19.99 to 24.
No, I'm sure I'm on the basis around about 35 quid to 40 quid, maybe. That's the basis I'm working off, because obviously the dollar ratio at the minute is shit. And I've watched a lot of American reviews on it, and they were saying it's roughly around about $30 to $35, which at the minute we might as well be a fucking quid. So I've been looking at it on that basis that it's about 35 quid.
I'm just looking to see whether anyone in the UK has got them for sale.
$35.99. I found them straight away.
Where
on a UK site.
Which UK site?
Evo. $34.99. That's what they've been sold for. Don't get me wrong. It comes with rechargeable batteries. It comes with a set of batteries. But to me personally, it's sort of for a 35. What's the AIO go for?
Well, we sell the Pro for $34.99. We sell the standard one for $29.99, and we sell the pen for $24.99.
To me personally, this had to come on the market as a very cheap device, and it's sort of, to me, it's very much old technology. It's not new, and we had sort of had a little bit of a discussion before the show, and I said basically I thought we were moving forward with battery technology. This is obviously making ease. Don't get me wrong, it's making a lot of ease for people who haven't got charged batteries, and then they've got this mod that they can just go out and buy some Duracells. But fucking Duracells aren't cheap. Even throwaway Duracells are what, 4 or 5 quid for 4? To me personally, I'd rather them have brought it out with, for instance, a lipo, like a little lipo in it, like, you know, the AIO.
Honest, mate, that was my thing. When I seen it the other day, I just thought, why the fuck haven't they lipoed that? I don't understand why. Whether it's just to have this claim that they've got the first AA battery powered device, which isn't the first AA battery powered device, because I've definitely seen them 3 and 4 years ago. I don't know. And to be honest, at $34.99, personally, I wouldn't buy them and sell them, because there's no way I could go to in our shop and say that is better for you than a lipo, than an AO Pro at the same price. Honestly, in my head, I was thinking $19.99.
Yeah, it comes off to me like a really cheap, affordable device that would be running 15, 20 quid.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, obviously, I get the whole push of ease and using these batteries, and sort of it gives a little bit of a limelight to people to be able to sort of go, rather than I'm going to charge batteries and fucking I can go to a shop and go pick them up. I get it. But by the time you fucking bought the device, you've used your 2 chargeable batteries during the day. You want a vape during night on it. You go, fuck it, I've got to buy some Duracells. End of month, you spent 40 quid on fucking Duracells. Because let's be realistic, whenever you buy a new device, you always use it as your main device when you first get it, to see what it's like and how it handles, and you know, and it's obviously not made to be that, but I can see people going out there, and by the time end of month, you've spent 40 quid. So Paul, if you get them in stock Duracells, you'll be fucking minty.
You know what, mate? I say I'm being. I mean, if anyone wants to try it, they've got them on Evolution's website, $34.99. They've got them in various colours, and they're tiny. They're small device. But for me personally, it is a device that you would use for specific occasions. You would carry it in your car, knowing that if you ever need to pull over and buy batteries, you can. You might take it on if you're flying from fucking London, from Birmingham to Scotland for the day and flying back on the night. It's handy just because you've got no hassle when you're in the airport. It's them sort of things to buy a device. I mean, I've been using this mod is fucking battered, man. To the point where I might even treat myself to a new mod this weekend if the shop does okay. But I mean, like my lipo is actually it's rattling about inside, or something's loose inside. I've dropped it. I've literally dropped it. I've dropped it from the fucking full height down to the floor. The paint's scratching off it. All the paint's come off from around the top. But I still pick it up every single day and I use it. And actually, I'll replace it with another AO Pro.
Yeah.
Because it just works. I've never ever, say never ever, I'll be absolutely lying, because once or twice it's run out on me. But I'm talking when I've been up early in the morning and it might have run out on me at 1 o'clock in the morning. So for a normal day of me getting out of bed sometime between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning and then using it throughout the day and going to bed between 10 and midnight, I've never ever once had it fail. So, and to be fair to Joytech, their cells that they use are fantastic. In all of their devices, they use Joytech batteries. They're good. They do what they've got to do. They've got the company, the sister company makes cells, so they know what they're doing as far as batteries are concerned. I just don't understand why. And maybe they'll bring out that backpack as a LiPo pack or something, I don't know, and bring out something of the same size with a smaller LiPo. I mean, the thing is thin. It's small, it's compact, it's a tiny little device. It is running, I'm just looking at the specs on James's website actually. So it's claiming to be the first vaporizer using AA batteries as the power, thanks to the exclusive Joytech Eco technology. They're estimated to achieve approximately 800 puffs with 2 fully charged Avatar AA NiMH batteries, which are the rechargeable 2000 mAh that come with them. Meanwhile, you can still get around 150 puffs from 2 disposable normal AA batteries. This result was based on the experimental tests, each puff taking 2 to 3 seconds. The AA batteries have been a long accepted safe power source, and it only made sense to utilise them in a vaporizer. You can not only use the normal AA batteries, but also use the AA NiMH rechargeable batteries, which are all very convenient to buy in the supermarket. The backpack is incredibly simple and convenient to use, and now with Eco technology, the Eco Tech still provides the best vaping experience, but allows the battery to have a very low output. This extends the battery life by almost double. The newly added BFHN 0.5 coil head is now optimized for use with high nicotine e-liquids. In all, the backpack could be the safest vaporizer ever for your convenience. So that's their marketing bit.
That's a big statement.
It's a massive statement. I say I don't see this taking off at any level at that price range as an all-day vaping device. I might be wrong, mate. I might be making fucking AA battery mechs in another fucking 6 months. Who knows?
The big fucking D batteries.
Yeah, we'll do some D batteries, man. We'll do the big D batteries. No, you know what I say? It's got a place in the market, 100%, mate. I would buy one. I would use one for them times where I know I can pick up batteries when I'm out and about, and I ain't got to stress about not having my batteries. That said, I don't know why I would buy one over that.
That's my point.
And if I'm in my car, I can plug it into a standard USB. It's got pass-through charging on it. It's 2000 mAh. But it's 2000 mAh that it gives me more than 800 puffs. I'm pretty sure of that. And if you're using standard out the shop AAs, you're talking 150 puffs. I reckon I could do 150 puffs on the shit house just for one sitting. So I don't know. I'm not decrying the product. I think it's clever. I think the size of it is fantastic, but I think they should have brought out exactly the same mod with the LiPo.
Yeah. To me, it was all about safety aspects.
And I think they should have brought out a brand new tank fitting. So you can't just screw any fucking 510 on there.
Even if it was inbuilt, you know, if it was stuck on literally like super glued onto top of 510, so you couldn't get that off, you could literally just change your coil, and that was it. It'd be perfect. That it was all about. When I saw it, I was straight away like safety, safety, safety. You know what I mean? I now know it's got a lot of safety functions, but it's actually marketed as a mounter lung kit, starter kit. Well, just to me, being AAs, I can just see people saying, fucking hell, it's an AA mod. I can go to Poundland and buy batteries, and they put them in, and they go, oh, well, they won't run on that. Disappointment. This is shit. It don't work on fucking shit batteries. You know, to me, it's still more experienced than a starter kit. You know, because a lot of people are using it Nick salts. people aren't using it sort of 50 milligram. They're using it nic salts. That's the reason they're using it, just to get them couple of hits, like Paul's saying in the car. To me, it screams 4-year-old technology.
No, I mean, clearly there's some clever electronics in there to manage and do what it does. So I'm not saying it's 4-year-old technology, because the ones that I seen 4 years ago, to be quite honest, looked like it was 2 batteries with no regulation straight to a CE4. So there's obviously there's lots of. I mean, to be fair, Joytech, mate, they're a big company. Obviously, it's part of Totally Wicked, Joytech, eLeaf. They're all sister companies of each other. Multi-million pound turnover businesses between them. They know what they're doing, and they've clearly put a lot. For some of the claims that they've made, they're clearly happy with the safety aspect of it. I will buy one of these just to see how it performs and works and how long the batteries last. But again, for me, for having to charge batteries from mouth to lung device is fucking long.
Even the MVP fucking had an lipo in it, and that will fucking see 4 days. You know, it just seems, as you said, it just seems like they want that status of being the very first AA battery mod, when that's not necessarily the case. You know, it's very much status-wise, I believe, with this.
Yeah, I think it's a fucking bold claim to say that the backpack could be the safest vaporizer ever for your convenience.
That sounds like a fucking lawsuit happening. That exactly what that sounds like. Someone in America buys one of them, fucking purposely vents it and goes, "Well, you said it was the safest thing going."
I don't know. We shall see. Maybe that'll be the next big thing. Who knows? But like I said, I will buy one when I can get them. I'll get some in and see how they go. But to be fair, I'll get him to send me one out and I'll try it. And if it's something that I'm genuinely could promote, I'd sell them. I just know that anyone coming into my shop as a brand new vapor, I would always struggle to sell them that device over this.
Yeah,
single time.
100%. And in that made by the same company as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is made by Joytech, so I say my battery. I don't know how long I've had this mod for. I've had it since before Christmas, and I'll batter this fucking thing, mate. It's in my hand all day long, every day. And even though I've been using my Breeze too, as much as I enjoy this and I really like it, I still don't think it vapes as well as that. So that's still been tending to be my preferred pickup. I love the size of this actually.
I think what Pixie said is bang on the head. I think it's a lazy, cheap way out, but will actually cost you more. Because you've got to buy batteries.
That's why it's good for. If it was marketed to a businessman on the move, or a mum, or someone who hasn't got the fucking battery chargers and stuff like that, I get that. They're marketing it as an all-day use device. I don't think it is for the money. I say if that was 1999, I'd have them in and I'd sell them tomorrow, because I'd be selling to people that are already made to longing and saying, mate, have you seen these? It's just handy. You're ever caught short, pop into any fucking garage, any supermarket, any corner shop, buy yourself some Duracells, fire them in there. Jobs are good. Still cheaper than a packet of fags. If you were desperate to get a vape that was working. And I'm sure it vapes exceptionally well, because Joytech stuff tends to be pretty good. So I just think for the money, there's better devices out there that do the same job.
I can't disagree whatsoever. On that note, if you want a device that's mouth to lung and it's cheap, I'll go for the fucking Pro.
Vaping.co.uk.
Said from the man himself. But when he gets his AA batteries in, he says, "Tom, I tried venting it. What fucking vent? It's not that bad."
I mean, I honestly don't think it will vent, to be fair. I haven't got a concern about that anymore. And I had a concern about it up until last night, until I read the data that you sent me through on it. I didn't realise it was on James's site, otherwise I would have just went on there and had a look. But to be fair, the sort of specs that they cover on there make it safe to use. The one thing that I noticed when I went through their PDF is that it is regulated to 1.85 volts, so it won't give out more than 1.85 volts regardless. Now, I don't know how the fuck 1.85 volts is firing a 0.5 coil.
That's what I'm saying. It's very confusing.
It's got some sort of new eco technology, coil stroke battery stroke technology in there, which is obviously something to do with their electronics, which means it does give out enough power to fire a 0.5.
Well, I've seen the vape off it. I've seen a lot of reviews of people vaping it, and it still does give a fair amount of vape. Don't give fucking plumes. Don't get me wrong. I'm supposed to be a mouth-alone device. It's not going to give plumes. It gives a fair amount of vape. But then you think 0.5 coil. I know for a fact on the AIO you're using, if you hit that properly, you can still get quite a lot of vape off it. But with this device, obviously, it's regulated to the fact is it's meant to be a mouth-to-lung. So it's running probably about 8 watts. To me, what mouth-to-lung vapor really wants to run, what does that run at 12 watts? The AIO.
This is regulated to, it's variable on this. So if I put the 1 ohm coil in, it'll give a different wattage, but I think it's maximum 15 watts. So that's at 0.6, it's firing at 15 watts. I think with the 1 ohm in there, it's firing at 12 watts. But I mean, to be fair, I think the watts and the volts are irrelevant if they've got some clever technology in there that makes it work, and clearly they have. My issue with it is for $34.99 for what I would consider an emergency mod. I'd always struggle to sell that to a brand new vapor when I've got AOs with built-in lipos. And the normal standard AO is sold for $29.99. It's £5 cheaper. Pro's $34.99, so same price. 2009 lipo. You can put a 0.6 in there. You can put a 1 ohm in there. They do about fucking 5 or 6 different calls for this. We don't stock them all because I don't see the point. But I'm pretty sure they do one for sub ohm as well. But I mean, I've known people put high VG in these in the 0.6, fully open up the air and restricted lung it and use it perfectly fine.
Yeah. I just think it's not got its bang for its buck, has it? Definitely not.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. The same. I didn't have a clue what they sold for, but in my head, I was thinking, you know what? For a 1999 device that gets people out the shit, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, on that note, it's 10:10. We'll get out of here. I want to thank everybody once again.
For yourself, it's still quarter past fucking 8.
Say that again.
I said it's only fair. You didn't fire yourself.
If you've got another topic, I can go for another fucking hour if you want. That's just like, fuck that, I'm off to bed, me.
So on that note, we're out of here. We've still got the sale running on Shady Vaping. If you go down to the spring section, we will be adding lots of liquids and other products between now and Sunday. We will have, I don't know if we've got some special offers in the store on Sunday. So if you go down to either of the shops with your dad, you'll get some Father's Day offers. We've got some Majesty kits reduced. I think they're normally $74.99. We've got them reduced to $59.99. Plus you get a pair of batteries. Plus you get any shortfall out the shop as well. So that's a bargain. That is for £60. You just need to quote Father's Day. You need to take your dad in. He needs to be over the age of 75, and he needs to have both of his parents with him and birth certificates.
Maybe I had someone turn up at the shop.
I did do that one year. I said anyone who's over the age of 70 who turns up at the shop with both their parents gets a free order.
I bet no one fucking turned up.
In Yardley, no cunts older than fucking 70. The fucking average lifespan of people is about 47. So I mean, we'll constantly be adding product to the spring sale section right the way up until the 1st of July when all the offers run out. We still got clean mods at $29.99, cleaner sets at $64.99, which is with the mod, the stack 'em, and the RDA. We've got Empresses at $74.99. Huh?
You've seen the comment that Ross Nichols has put in the chat.
Can I bring more dad's ashes?
Yeah. You started something now, haven't you?
Ross, get to fuck, man.
I thought you would be best off answering that.
It has to be for your dad, mate. And if you've got a pot of ashes, he's already been smoked. He can't fucking vape nothing. Jesus Christ, the fucking lens.
I knew you'd pull it out of the bag for that one. You would.
Shocking. So
And
yeah,
if you're a dad, you can't come either. You've got to be with your dad.
yeah, definitely. You've got to bring your dad into the shop and treat
It's
him.
got to be
Just
alone.
because you're a dad doesn't mean you
I
get.
will get the fucking poster. I'll get an asterisk put on the poster in the bottom, say the dad must be breathing.
Fucking Ross, I'm sorry, mate. You made my fucking night with that joke. I'm sorry, mate. But you are.
I don't think Ross is joking. I reckon he's like that bastard. He's just had to fucking bury him again. Yeah, we'll post up some Father's Day offers. Me and Tasha are in London from Saturday to Sunday because our wedding anniversary next week. So we're going to London for the weekend.
That's when baby number 7 gets made.
Mate, I'm being put under immense pressure to have a 7th child, man.
It's meant to happen. You know it's meant to happen all the time.
I ain't even been private messaging Tasha, and I knew that's what the fucking game is.
Guys, pull out guys.
Mate, it's not that good.
I'm trying to trap my husband. It's
Any normal man who can move his ass backwards at that moment has got more fucking willpower than me. Because it's not, I don't know.
Come on, Paul.
I'm
You're old enough to
struggling.
know your stroke by now, for fuck's sake. You should know how many times it takes. You should know your stroke by now.
Fucking counting my pumps from the start. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, whoa!
Fucking hell. Oh my god. Right, on that fucking note, we are out of here. Make sure that you check the website for all the deals that's going on. If you're free on the weekend, make sure you remember about Paul and Tash, you know, making some love and having a great time.
It is.
But thank you so much for joining us again, guys. Do check the offers because there is some fucking banging offers on the website. Shady Vaping, make sure you go on there. I will put the link in the description of this video as well if you watched it back. Thanks ever so much, guys. We're out of here. I'm going to leave and love you lots because I've got to think about Paul getting down and dirty. Peace out, all.